All right. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. And thanks so much for joining. We're going to start soon. We're just accepting people here and then we'll start. All right. As you're joining, I saw on our last webinar last week when Johan, I can't remember if it was Johan and I forgot the name now, but I've actually written down. When you do your introduction, it's also time to see where organizations are, for collaboration. I saw Johan and Bobby last week. They just did the introduction on chat, and they were able to connect because they were kind of doing similar. They were in the similar space. So, don't take, introduction for granted. Please do the introduce yourself on chat, who you are and who you're representing, so that for collaboration with other organizations, then you're able to join and connect with some other organizations as well after this webinar. All right, 1:09, as we're accepting people, so continue introducing yourself and then we're gonna start. All right, I think let's start. The others will find us on the way. So welcome on today's webinar. My name is Arnold Nechambidi. I am the founder and executive director for Pambano Technology Development Center. So again, Pambano, it's a registered nonprofit organization here in South Africa, but we work with 10 other Southern African countries here. Again, Pambano means make a difference. So we make a difference to civil society organizations here in Southern Africa. We exist to strengthen and empower organizations across Southern Africa by building digital technology and organizational capacity, enabling them to operate more effectively, sustainably, and at scale to advance their mission. So please uh, don't be on mute. You can just unmute for now, and we'll, during the Q&A time, then we'll allow some people to come off mute. So again, this is who we are as a nonprofit organization. So we work with organizations in all our services. We provide digital capacity building to organizations. Some of our programs are digital capacity building, ranging from cloud computing adoption for organizations. So if you need any cloud adoption in terms of be it Google for nonprofits or Microsoft 365 for nonprofits, we'll be able to assist you. Also have digital marketing training, e-safety, and AI tools for CSO. And we actually have launched, so again, we are the implementing partner for Civic AI, which is an initiative by Microsoft Elevate. And my colleague will share that link where, your team can be skilled through the Civic AI. So please register, please sign up on Civic AI. We also do free IT consultation for organizations that require any technical support, any IT assistance. We develop websites for organizations at a cost of 2,500, and you can then get in touch with us. You can send us an email. You can send it to either info@pambano.org.za or arnold@pambano.org.za. So of course, today's webinar is not the usual that we do in terms of technology. Today, we're joined by Active Donor, focusing more on the compliance as we're heading to the end of our financial year. Most of our nonprofits financial year is end of February. So we're heading to the, end of the financial year and, what are the steps in terms of compliance with regards to Section 18A and IT3D. So I'm happy to welcome Zahir Mirza and Raisa, Shakur. So please give a warm, you can then do some emojis to welcome Zahir and Raisa. So please, I don't know if you can hear me, Zahir, and if you can be on camera as well. I'm not seeing
Morning, good
you.
morning. Hello,
As you can
everyone.
see, all the clapping of the hands, so you're welcome. So it's a pleasure to host you today, Zahir and Raisa. So please free. These are the majority of participants here and are from organizations, and as organizations we work together. So please feel free, and then you can take us to everything that has to do with compliance. So please welcome Zahir.
Thank you, Arnold. Thank you. Welcome to the webinar, everyone. Thank you, Arnold and the Pambano team for hosting us. It's a morning here, and we've still got the rest of the week ahead of us, so we'll keep it light and easy to understand. We'll walk you through everything that you need to know about Section 18A compliance and the IT3D submission process for 2026. So let's dive in. For those who don't know me, my name is Zahir. I'm founder and developer at Active Donor. With me is Raisa, head of our customer success at Active Donor. In a nutshell, Active Donor is a software platform for managing your donors, Section 18A compliance, and we serve over about 300 nonprofits across South Africa. We're all about automating the painful admin stuff like Section 18A, IT3D, so you can spend more time on what really matters in your organization. And this isn't a sales presentation. Think of it more as a checklist of all the important things that you need to be aware of. What you see here will apply to any organization that issues Section 18A. In some cases, we'll illustrate how we design this in Active Donor, but you're free to model these processes within your own workflows. So what we'll be covering today, just give you a quick run through. We'll start with the key dates that you all need to know about. We'll see what makes a valid Section 18A certificate, explain what donor data that you actually need to collect from your donors, discuss your IT3D submission options, and we'll also be sharing some valuable resources as a checklist at the end that recaps a lot of the important points that we'll discuss in today's presentation. All right, so let's dive into it. Let's look at some of the key critical dates. The first one is the 28th of February, 2026. Remember, this is going to be the last day for donations to count for this tax year. After this, it's too late for donors to claim deductions for the 2025-26 period. That's your first critical date. Second one is the 1st of March, 2026. This is when SARS new Section 18A requirements kick in. We'll get into the details a little bit later on, but basically there are some new fields that you'll need to include on your Section 18A receipts after the 1st of March 2026. And then the big one, 31st of May 2026. This is the deadline for submitting your IT3D to SARS. Don't miss this one, otherwise you might be in for some penalties, compliance issues, and possibly even risking your PBO status. So yeah, this one is a non-negotiable. All right, and why does this matter? Let's talk about the consequences. If you mess up your compliance, your donors can't claim their deductions, which is obviously not great for your future fundraising. The other issue is SARS could revoke your PBO 18A status. Your organization could face penalties, and most importantly, you'll also lose donor trust. So it's worth getting this right. Right? So just to hammer this home, look at the calendar. 28th is circled because that's literally your last chance to lock in funds for the 2026 financial year. After the 28th of February, no more donations qualify for this tax year. So what does this mean practically? This means that donations must be received by your PBO before the 28th. Keyword here is received, not promised, received. You can issue the Section 18A receipts after this date, that's fine, but the funds must hit your bank account on or before this date. Your donors will obviously need their Section 18A certificates for their tax returns, so make sure you issue them soon afterwards. And this makes it a prime time for your fundraising campaigns. You need to remind your donors about the tax benefits while they still have time to give. To help you out, we've put together a free tool at 18a.co.za. Just go on your browser, on your phone, 18a.co.za. You don't need to be an active donor client to use this. It's completely free. Your donors can calculate exactly how much tax they'll save by donating to your organization. It's super useful for your fundraising campaigns to show people the actual benefit that they'll get. So you can bookmark it on your phone, and next time you're with a donor, you can show them how much their donation will actually save them in taxes. So this is what the tax calculator would look like. You can come in, you can enter the actual taxable amount and the donation amount they pledge or they want to donate. So let me just say, for example, you have a trust that wants to do that earns 200,000, and they plan to give, let's say 20,000. Their tax saving on this donation will be 9,000 Rand. The effective cost of the donation will be 11,000, and you can see a breakdown. So this is nice to share with your donors to illustrate the actual tangible tax benefits that the donors will receive. All right, so that's a free tool. You can log in, you can view it at 18a.co.za. All right. Now that you've got your donors coming in and you've started getting some receipts, donation receipts, you want to find out what is the information that you need to collect from your donors to issue a valid Section 18A. So here's what you need to collect from every donor: their full name or registered name of the organization to identify the taxpayer, ID number or registration number, and the tax reference number. This is how donors would actually claim their donation, and all of this data is required for IT3D reporting. You would also need their contact details like email and phone so that you can send them their certificates and obviously follow up with your donors, and the physical address, which is part of the IT3D compliance requirements. And once you've got this, if you can, you need to run a report to identify what is missing. Now, in Active Donor, we've built a missing donor information report. The purpose of this report is to highlight gaps that you need to fill for your 18A compliance. You can contact donors early to get this information. Don't wait until the last minute. Also, you need to make sure that you remove all duplicate records, check that the donation details are accurate, make sure you verify the ID and registration numbers, and back up your data. This is all basic stuff, but it's very, very critical. So how do you actually ask donors for this information? Our suggestion is you contact them early. It's still early in the pipeline. Start reaching out to prospective or donors that have already donated to you. Explain that this information is needed for valid tax certificates. They'll understand. Right? Reassure them that their data is going to be secure, and make it easy for them to respond. You need to use forms like Google Forms, Typeform, not complicated processes. Always remember to be polite and appreciative. You are asking them a favor. So be polite and send a gentle follow-up. If they don't respond the first time, just reach out to them and send a gentle follow-up. So now I'll ask my colleague Raisa to run you through a quick typical workflow of how we request donor information within Active Donor. And Raisa will show you the actual workflow in Active Donor.
Hi, just give me a second to share my screen. Okay, I should be able to see it shortly. There we go.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Zahir. Hi, everyone. So this is Active Donor. This is your dashboard when you log in, and basically you can see what's been going on in your organization. But to get into how do you capture information from your donors, you would just head over to the donors page. We've got a capture form that's available here. And you can just copy this link and bulk email it to all of your donors. This could be for new donors, existing donors. You can send this link out to everyone. If I open up this form, this is what it looks like. It would have, if you were a client, it would have your organization details and branding up at the top, and the donor can come in and fill out their information. So this would be for all donor types, whether they're a company or a trust, an individual, and so on. And the donor can also specify if they would require a Section 18A. So if they say yes for a certificate, then obviously we ask for the ID and income tax number. However, if they say no, we don't collect that information. So I'm just going to fill this out quickly. So this is how your donor would typically fill it out. And then the address. The donor can fill this out either on their cell phones or from their desktop. It's very user-friendly. Oh, let's grab an ID number. Okay, and then once the donor is ready with all of their information, they can simply click on Submit. Now, the great thing about this form is that it's got built-in validation checks. So our system will check if the ID number, company registration number, and tax number are correct. You can see here, I've got a little typo. Let's go back, correct that, and then click on Submit. If everything is correct, it will allow the donor to submit this form to you. And you will receive an email to let you know that a donor has filled out this form. But if I go back into my active donor account, I can click here on donor updates to process, and this will show me a full list of donors that have filled out this form. You can view the submission if you'd like so, and then simply click on create donor. So it's created that donor profile for me. And if I were to search for the donor up here at the top, here we go. It's created their profile. This is what it looks like, along with all of their information. And now it's simple. We can just issue their donation receipt and Section 18A. Okay, I think I'm going to be handing back to Zahir now to continue.
Thank you, Raisa. So now that we've got the donation, the donor's information, what is the information that we need to add onto our 18A? First and foremost, you need to be a SARS approved PBO to issue Section 18As. That's a given. If you're not, then you can reach out to Arnold and he'll guide you through how to register. He'll connect you with the right people to register your organization as a PBO. Make sure you include your organization's name and PBO number clearly at the top. You'll also need your donor's details, full name, address.
Sorry, Zaire. You're not sharing your screen. Please share your screen again.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, sure. No problem.
There we go.
And thanks to, let me just check. Thanks. Sorry, I just want to go to chat. Thanks to Rich Sutherland and also Abdul Wahid. So Wahab Hussein, who actually prompted us that the screen is not sharing, but it's now visible.
Thank
so
you.
Can go ahead.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. It's our first time doing this, so these things happen. So you need to make sure that you include your organization's name and PBO number clearly at the top. Obviously, the donor details that you've collected need to be here. Their donor's full name, their address, donation details, the amount, date, all of that. Receipt number, authorized signature, which we recommend. And most critically, you need to confirm that the donation will be used for public benefit activities that are in line with the Act. Also keep in mind that you cannot issue a Section 18A certificate if goods or services were provided in exchange for the donation. So that's something to be aware of. All right. So on this slide here, you can see all of the details of the organization that are required. Most importantly, make sure your PBO number is correct and visible at the top of your certificate. You can also include a trust NPO, NPC number if you have one. And we also recommend adding an authorized signature for authenticity and accountability. Here's all the donor information you need to include on your 18A. So the donor information that we collected, this is all of the donor information that you need to add. Notice that the income tax number is now required for everyone, both individuals and entities. And for individuals, you'll also need their ID, passport number, the ID type, and the country of issue. This slide breaks down everything you need clearly, so you can reference this later. If you're fortunate enough to have donations coming in from businesses or the corporate sector, then these fields are also required. Basically, it's going to be the company's registration number, their trading name, if that's different from the registered name, and the entity registration number. So this would be for trusts, companies, estates. And for the donation itself, obviously, you need to know when the donation was given, the date, the nature of the donation. So this would be cash or goods in kind, and then the amount. And if it's goods in kind, you also need to include a description of the items that were donated. Some of the common sort of mistakes that we see all of the time is having invalid ID or registration numbers, right? Like Raisa showed earlier, there was an error with the ID number, and that needs to be picked up before, because once you issue the 18A to the donor and you need to submit it to SARS, you need to make sure everything lines up correctly. Right? And invalid tax numbers, that's a very common one. Error we see is sometimes companies may give their VAT number instead of their income tax number. So if you know a VAT number starts with a 4, anytime you see a tax number starting with a 4, just know that it's a VAT number and it has to be the correct format. Another issue that we see all the time is incorrect or missing PBO numbers, missing donor contact information, incorrect donation dates or amounts. Please make sure that you get these accurately from your Section 18As, because you'll need these later for the IT3D. And just double check everything before you issue your Section 18A. Now, I'm going to hand this over again to Raisa to show you give us a quick demo on how to issue SARS compliant Section 18A using Active Donor. Obviously, the same would apply if you're using any other system. But yeah, this is how we do it in Active Donor. Raisa, take it away.
Sure. Okay, so now that we've captured all of the donor information in Active Donor, like I mentioned, you can simply add a receipt. So let's add in a donation for this donor. Let's say he's given me 1,000 Rand, and then you can enter in the date. So let's say we received this in December. You can also specify how you receive the funds. So if you've got multiple different bank accounts, you can add them in here. Or if it's an online donation, cash or goods in kind, you can also specify that here. I'm just going to leave this as APSA. You can also allocate these funds to a particular project that you're fundraising for. Think of these as campaigns. So if you'd like, let's say, for example, this is for hunger alleviation. And then if I go to extra fields, let's say, for example, this for goods in kind. So then under receipt notes, I would add in the exact items that were donated. So whether it was bread, milk, food, clothing items, or stationery, you can add the exact items in here. And then up at the top, you'll add in the amount that was donated. Once you're done with the receipt information, you simply click on Create Receipt, confirm that the details are correct, and now you can issue your Section 18A. So if the donor requests this, and this is a once-off donation, and they want their Section 18A immediately, you would just add the receipt and then click on Issue Certificate. If all of the information is stored in there properly, in the donor profile, it will pull through here, and you can issue your Section 18A. Okay. Click on Issue. And there you go. The certificate is generated, and everything that Zahir has just mentioned with regards to all of your details being on the Section 18A, it's visible here, as well as all of the donor information, including your clause and an authorized signature. And then from here, it's as easy as just clicking on email, and you can send this out to your donor. Now, if there's a situation where a donor has donated on a monthly basis throughout the year, what you would do then is open up that donor's profile. So you would capture these donations throughout the year. So as the donations come in, you would capture them either by doing a bulk import of your bank statement or capturing them manually. And you can see here it says requested. So these certificates have not been issued for this donor. So I would simply come into her profile, and then I can select them here on the left-hand side if I'd like, or you can simply click on 2026 here for that financial year, and then click on Issue Batch Certificate. So this will automatically select all of the donations for that period, and you can click on Issue Batch, and this will create one Section 18A for the total amount of all of her donations, and it will also include a breakdown for her with the exact receipt numbers as well as the dates and the amounts that was donated each month. Right. Thank you very much. That's it with regards to the Section 18As. I'm going to hand back over to Zahir now.
Yes. Thank you, Raisa. I'm going to share my screen again. I've learned that lesson now. Right, so
Thanks,
we
Zahir.
should be good. All right. I think somebody was asking if they about just to clarify with regards to donating for issuing Section 18A for goods in kind. What I meant to say was that your organization cannot provide services or any favors to issue 18As, right? So it needs to be a bona fide donation to your organization for you to be able to issue a Section 18A. So you cannot give them, some favors or something like that for an 18A. It needs to be a donation that needs to come through as a bona fide donation, and it needs to be for PBA activities, public benefit activities. All right, so I hope that clears it up. Happy to chat after. So new rules, new year, new rules. Right, from the 1st of March, there are going to be some changes. This comes straight from SARS, Government Gazette number 6762, I think from last October. And these are the official new requirements. These new requirements seem to build upon the previous Gazette that was issued, I think, in late 2023. So let's break it down for you. There are two main changes here. Firstly, donation for goods in kind must now include detailed item descriptions and their valuation. So you can't just say, goods donated anymore. And secondly, the income tax number is now mandatory for all donors, individuals and entities alike. And this will apply to all 18A receipts that you issue from the 1st of March 2026. So this regulation just builds upon and clarifies the previous 2023 ruling. All right. So next up, you've issued your 18As and you are SARS compliant. Let's shift gears to IT3D. Remember that 31st of May deadline that we talked about earlier. Make sure you mark this on your calendars. This is very important. What is IT3D? This is a mandatory submission of all your Section 18A certificates to SARS. You need to submit all your Section 18A data to SARS biannually, and the deadlines are 31st of May and 31st of October. So this data must be accurate and match what you've issued to donors on the actual certificates. Late or incorrect submissions can put your PBO at risk or may attract penalties. So you need to be careful about this deadline. The actual IT3D submission can be quite complex, and we'll probably do a follow-up webinar maybe later in the year, around May or late April, just to focus on IT3D. So look out for that. And there are a few ways to submit your IT3D, depending on how many certificates you're dealing with and your technical appetite, right? If you've got less than 50, you can use the e-filing channel and manually enter the data for each certificate one by one. This is by far the simplest process, but also requires manually recapturing all of the Section 18A data into e-filing one at a time. And it's usually one field at a time, so name, email address, tax number for each certificate. The second method is for certificates between 50 and 50,000. In this case, you need to create an IT3D file, which is a specific file, and use the HTTPS gateway for the file upload. You'll obviously also need to register with SARS as a third.
I don't know if it's me, Zahir, or if it's on your side. Zahir?
It's on Zahir's side, Arnold, because I also can't hear anything. I thought I'd lost connection and moved.
Raisa, can you hear us, Raisa? Sorry about that. I'm really, really sorry about that. Raisa, can you hear us?
Hi, I'm so sorry.
Hi, can you hear us?
Yes, we can hear you. I'm so sorry about that. We just had a power outage now. I think
sorry
that he's
about
trying
that.
to reconnect as well. I'm so sorry about that.
Okay, all right. So apologies. So any questions? So you can also just move questions on Q&A, so that then it's easy, because the chat is really busy here. And if
I can see that.
and if yes, and if you also are familiar with the Active Donor, this platform, please also share for some organizations to also see how it works. And yeah, so Elma Totong, I don't know if you can see chat, so that then I see you have a question here. I don't know, Raisa, should we take questions or should we wait for do you have any
I
inverters
think,
or something in the office?
yeah, we're just trying to get that back up and running now.
Oh, okay.
So if you
All
could
right.
just, I think, yes, we can take some questions
Okay.
now while we're waiting for Zahir to reconnect. Guys, I'm
All
so
right.
sorry about that.
No
So
worries.
some people have said they don't have access to Q&A, so we
Oh,
will
I
have
see.
to go through the millions
Sure.
of questions
chat.
in the chat. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let me just, Johanna, I see you've got a hand up, Johanna Fenter. Just check if you can hear me and unmute yourself if you
Yes,
have
I
a
can.
question. Okay,
Yes,
awesome.
thank you very much. I would like to know what's the cost involved to get to this system, to get onto the system.
I don't know if Raisa, if you had, there's a slide with all your pricing.
So it is available on our website. Just give me one
Okay.
second to share my screen.
All
So
right.
we charge according to how many donors you have, but it is available on our website if you go to activedonor.com, and then you just click on pricing up at the top. But I am going to pull it up now.
Okay, cool. While you pull it up, I see Trudy Skuman. A good experience with Active Donor platform. They're super helpful, so pick up on that. Okay, yeah, so I see the screen is coming. Yes. All
There you
right,
go.
we
So
need the
these are,
special offer.
as it stands, these are our annual pricing plans. These are all inclusive of that. And you do also have the option of monthly plans as well, if you'd like to. But with regards to a special offer, I'm sure we can speak to Zahir about that. But if you guys would like to contact us, I think we will be sharing our contact details at the end of this session.
Okay, all right. So this is not the end of the presentation. We're just waiting again. Online, anything can happen, and unfortunately, Zahir had a power off on his side, so he is gonna join. So the Raisa, there is a great comment here from an accountant. Natalie Ansley said, I can't recommend Active Donor more, and this is coming from an accountant. So big ups on that. And I know we're still going to come up to the questions. I see Zara, Human Aid has been with Active Donor for a couple of years now. Amazing experience, 10 out of 10 recommendation. So don't think I'm not seeing your questions. I'm seeing them. I'm just waiting for Zahir to come up. Shesley Isaac, let me check if you got a quick question. Sorry, I can't see. Let me see. Oh, sorry. Witumelo, maybe let's start with Witumelo. Witumelo, let me give you access. Okay, please unmute, Witumelo. Okay, while Witumelo is unmuting,
Good morning.
Shesley Isaac. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yes.
Thank you. Morning, everyone. I just wanted to find out, he mentioned the goods and services rendered in exchange for PBO. I just need a clarity on that. So if an organization donates goods or services, are we allowed to issue a PBO certificate for the quantified amount of those goods or services, or is that not allowed? Does it just have to be money?
So you're saying if the donor donates goods or services to your organization? I just want to clarify.
Yes.
Okay, so you can issue a Section 18A if the donor issues goods, donates goods to your organization, so things like food, stationery items, books, and so on. However, you cannot issue a Section 18A for services rendered.
Okay,
Okay, so
understood.
if they do some building or painting, you can't issue a Section 18A for that.
And professional services like digital marketing or accounting services, etc., if they're invoiceable, can we not?
No, you can't.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
No
Okay,
problem.
I think Zahir is back. So yeah, I see questions. So Zahir, can you hear us now? Zahir, can you hear us? Because I see I've admitted him. And you are still the presenter. Zahir, can you hear us? Check if you're muted and unmute.
I think he is muted. Okay, he's
You
back.
back?
I'm
Okay,
juggling a
awesome.
lot of things here. All right.
No,
I
no
should be back.
worries. Welcome back. Welcome
Apologies,
back.
guys. Thank you.
It's okay.
Thank you. I couldn't find the link to join again, so that took me
Sorry
a
about
bit of a
that.
tailspin.
No worries. At least you're back.
So
welcome.
yeah, thanks. So I think I was
And you
on
can share the
the
screen.
yes.
You had your screen shared, yeah. So please share the screen again.
Yeah. Just give me
Okay.
a second. Thank you, Arnold.
Okay, so we'll
Thank you for
continue
being
with
Sorry,
patient
this
with
is
me.
questions at the end of
live,
the
so
session.
anything can happen. Awesome. There you are.
All right. Super. There we go. So this is where we were, I believe, on the different channels of submission. And if you've got between 50 and 50,000 certificates, then you'll need to create an IT3D file. And you also need to make sure that it's compliant. SARS has a very specific format for this file. And most organizations will probably opt for the HTTPS submission process. But as we see, it actually can be quite complex. And then we have Connect Direct. This one requires special approval from SARS. It's quite costly and it's a technical affair to set up. So that's going to be unlikely for most nonprofits. This is going to be out. I believe there's a third way, which most of our clients use, which is to send your Section 18E directly to SARS in one click through Active Donor, and we'll show you how that works a little bit later. One important note, that even if you issue no Section 18E certificate for the year, you must still submit a nil return or a nil declaration to SARS by 31st of May. So it is most important to keep this date in mind. You will have to do a submission, whether you have your Section 18As or none, you still have to make a submission by 31st of May, right? So let's look at the HTTPS process that most organizations will have to do. If you're submitting by HTTPS, this is probably the path that you will need to follow. As you can see, it's not for the faint of heart. There are a number of processes that you need to follow. And some of these processes can get quite technical in nature. As
sorry,
you can
one
imagine,
second, Zahir. I think you're on the wrong page.
No, that's fine. As you can see, as you can imagine, this also takes a long time to get done. Now, imagine doing submission process twice a year, every year. Fun times. And the key step to this whole process is creating the IT3D file itself. This is where you'll need to compile all of that certificate data into a specific file format that SARS requires. If you haven't seen what an IT3D file looks like, and if you haven't had the pleasure of seeing one of these files, this is what it looks like. It's basically a structured text file, similar to an Excel or a CSV document, with all of your Section 18A certificate data in a very specific format.
Just
and
hold,
SARS is,
sorry, Zahir. Sorry, Zahir.
yeah,
I'm just checking on the slide. What slide are you at?
it says, what is an IT3D file?
Because I'm seeing only the submissions methods.
Okay, hang on.
Is that the right screen?
Let's move on. Let's show you the IT3D submission process.
Yes, please.
Can you guys see the process?
Not as yet.
It's a
I
flow
think stop
chart.
sharing
on the
and reshare
submissions.
again.
It's still on
All right,
submission methods.
We're having a lot of this is what happens when you go live, eh?
Yeah, no,
sharing.
it's okay. We'll get there.
Fun times, hey guys. Back to me.
Yes.
Let's share again.
Yeah, share again.
All right.
And by the way,
Can you see
for
something?
those that it's getting there. We'll give you a heads up when it's Yeah, it's still going somewhere. It's still going to share something.
All right.
Still trying to share.
Saying, I'm
Yes.
seeing the
So it's on
IT3D
IT
submission
3D
process.
submission process. Yes, yes. Please continue.
Yeah. So as I was saying, this is quite a technical process, you know. There are a number of steps that you need to follow. You need to be careful, and some of these steps are very technical in nature. So as you can imagine, it also takes a long time to get this thing. By every year. So that in itself is a bit of a challenge. So let's see if we move over to the next slide.
Yeah, maybe you can turn off your camera, Zahir, so that maybe it will be good in terms of your connectivity on your side. Yeah, so please continue.
All right, so this is the IT3D file. This is what the IT3D file looks like. It's basically a structured text file that you need to generate. And it's similar to Excel or CSV file, if you've ever seen one. And it contains all of your certificate data in a very specific format. SARS is quite particular about how they want this structured, right? And now we'll show you how we submit, how we generate and submit this file to SARS in a couple of clicks, right? So, Raisa, if you can show the attendees how customers in Active Donor, behind the scenes, Active Donor performs all of the necessary checks in your 18A, builds a SARS compliant file, and then securely submits it to SARS. And then in a few minutes, obviously, we get a return response from SARS and marks all your certificates as submitted. Raisa, go ahead.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to share my screen now. Here we go. So back in Active Donor. So can you guys see my screen?
Showing the Eco Africa Foundation. Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. So now that your Section 18As have been issued throughout the financial year, all you would need to do is click on reports. Now, one step before you get into the actual IT3D, Zahir mentioned the donor info reports that we created as well. So one step before your IT3D is just to do a double check on all of your data by clicking on donor information. And then you can use the filters here on the left-hand side, Section 18A required, yes. And this will basically show you a list of all of your donors and if they've got missing information. So if they require a Section 18A or they've requested one, but they have missing information. So this donor has got a missing tax number. This donor has got a missing ID and tax number. So what you can do is if you've got it on hand, you simply click on this and you enter in the details and update all your Section 18As. However, if you don't have it, you can just click on this little green icon and this will generate a link for this donor. So it's similar to the form that I showed you earlier, except this is unique to the donor. So you can email this or WhatsApp it to your donor, and they'll fill out this form and send it back to you with their information. Now, once that's done, when it's time to do your IT3D submission, it's as simple as clicking on IT3D here. And this will show you all of your Section 18As issued for that particular financial period. So you would select your tax year here, and it will show you all of your certificates. Now, it does another compliance check here. So if, for example, if something is not compliant, it will say no here, and you'll be able to correct it if need be. But you'd simply select all of them and then click on Submit to SARS. Now, this takes about 5 to 10 minutes for SARS to get back to you, depending on how busy their servers are. But you can go to IT3D submissions and you'll be able to see your submission status, so whether it's been received or successfully uploaded, if there were any warnings in that submission, and so on. So this will always show you a full history of all of your submissions that you've done to SARS. So for auditing purposes, accountability, you have this list at your disposal whenever you need it, as long as you're an active donor user. Now, if I go into the actual submission, I can see all of the Section 18As included in that submission. And if there were any warnings, they would appear here. And if any were rejected, they would appear here. So I know some of you who've already done the HTTPS or who have managed to do the HTTPS submission know that the response that you get from SARS is a bit complicated to read. So we've simplified the entire thing so it's in digestible format and you're able to see what exactly went wrong if there were any issues. And you can do all of your corrections in Active Donor and resubmit all of them to SARS. Okay, that's about it from my side with regards to your IT3D submissions. I'm going to hand back over to Zahir.
Thank you, Raisa. I'm going to ask everyone, can you guys see my slides again?
Yep, we can
Yes,
see
we
it.
can see how SARS uses this data.
Are we good?
Yes.
Super. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So why does SARS want all of this data? So they need this to automatically match the submitted donation data with the donor's tax returns. They use this to pre-populate, that's what they've said, that they use it to pre-populate the donor's tax returns with the deductions. And then they also want to verify the legitimacy of your Section 18A certificate. So they use this to cross-check the amounts, the donor claims versus what is reported in your IT3D file. Obviously, this is to prevent fraudulent claims. And it's also a way for SARS to monitor your organization's compliance. Basically, it's just verification and preventing fraud. I can't stress this enough. Failure to submit your IT3D can result in penalties or increased compliance risk. So just make sure that you don't forget about this deadline. Don't mess around with this deadline. Yeah. All right. So a lot of people have been asking if we can provide the slides. Yes, we can provide the slides, but we've got something better. We've put together a nice practical year-end checklist that you can download. It's free. Just go to activedonor.com/checklist and you'll be able to download everything that we've discussed in this presentation. It goes through all of the points here, the dates, as well as the information that you need to collect. And we'll also give you a Section 18A template that's compliant with the 2026 changes. All right, that's it from my side. Quick recap on what Active Donor does. It's a donor management platform, allows you to issue professional receipts, SARS compliance, Section 18, click IT3D submissions direct to SARS. So that whole complicated process flowchart that I showed you earlier, that's all done in one click with Active Donor. It's built specifically for South African nonprofits of all sizes. So whether you have our smallest organizations have anything from under 10 donors, all the way up to tens of thousands of donors. So we handle them all. And if you're interested in a 14-day trial, you're welcome to sign up at activedonor.com. If you want to simplify your compliance work, or you can book a free one-on-one demo. We also have a promotional offer at the moment for newly registered PBO. So if you've just gotten your PBO status approved by SARS, congratulations. Please feel free to reach out to us if you've got your approval recently, and we'll have a special offer, promotional offer for you. Thank you for joining us. That's it from my side. Okay. Arnold?
Yes, so thank you. Thanks so much, Zahir. And as we said, we'll share this presentation and also share the recording. I'm sorry again, but I'm happy that it took only just few minutes and then you're back, Zahir. So I'm happy, and also have Raisa here, so no problem. So again, on my side, just one last thing before we connect to we go through all the questions. As I said, we're running this Civic AI, which we are the implementing partner for this Civic AI with Microsoft. So if you work with any network organizations and you'd like to host us, so we can do an overview on how do your organizations and your employees, your beneficiaries, and anyone in the community who can benefit on this skilling initiative. Let us know. Again, AI is something that is now here. We also need to also learn a new skill, get to know how to adopt on the the AI. So let me just quickly go through the questions. I'll go to chat as well. I just want to check on the Q&A quickly. Sophie is asking, okay, can you please send a link for the checklist? I didn't see it on the website. So Zahir, Raisa, if you can post it here on the Q&A. There's also a question from Daniel Hopley. If we have issued some tax certificates early, will we need to reissue this with updated data fields? Don't know if you got any answer for that, Zahir. Okay, you can unmute yourself.
Is this with regards to the new rules that come into effect on the 1st of March? I just want to clarify that.
Daniel, do you want to have a quick share here if it's regarding that. Daniel, okay, let me just see where Daniel's. Let me just see if I can actually give Daniel. Sorry, Daniel, I'll be with you. I just want to check where you are. Oh, here we are. So let me just give you access. Yeah, go ahead, Daniel. You can unmute.
Morning, everyone. Yes, it is. So for the new regulations that come in from the 1st of March, if we've already issued certificates early for some donors and the fields have changed slightly, will we need to reissue those certificates?
I don't think so. I think this is more for certificates that come into effect, obviously, that you issue after the 1st of March. So obviously, if the donor has in his possession a certificate that you issued prior to the 1st of March, that obviously the ruling starts off on the 1st of March. So yeah, that's when it takes effect, basically.
Thank you.
You can.
All right. So Swangile Dai, if you can see some questions, please also just want to have a look again on Q&A. There was another question on Q&A. So let me just check again on Q&A and then we'll come back to the other questions on chat. I've got a question from Nofezeka. Do you offer the same services for issuing an Section 18A affidavit? Do you offer that, Zahir? The affidavit? Not really. Okay,
No, not
so
really, no.
Nofezeka, if you don't mind, please send me an
We're
email
a software
and I'll.
platform.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. No worries. Nofezeka, just so I don't forget your question, please email it to me and then I'll get back to you. Mandy, Mandy just sent so thank you. Is the new dates due for submission 31st August 2025 to 28 Feb 2026? I've already submitted to SARS. So I don't know if you need further clarity on that, Zahir.
No, if you've already submitted to SARS, there's nothing to do. Now, obviously, the next one is in May.
Okay.
And that's the one you'll need to submit for.
Sorry, 1 second. After you do your actual submission, there is a declaration that you also need to do after the actual
Yes.
submission, which Active Donor also handles as well, if you do the submission through us.
Okay. All right.
That's the
Cool.
IT 302 declaration.
All right. And then there's a question from Elsa. I don't know if it's similar to Mandy's one. Do you have to resubmit all donations you submit on the 31st October 2025 with the 31st May 2026 submission to SARS?
No, you don't. If you've already submitted, then you do not need to resubmit that. Otherwise, it will count as a duplicate. So you just submit the ones that you haven't submitted.
All right. Butumelo has a question. If your organization has not submitted any IT 3D in the past couple of years, do we have to backdate submissions to ensure compliance?
If you haven't submitted in prior years, then we do suggest playing catch up and submitting everything. There's nothing about backdating. You just need to do the submission to say these donations were issued to these. So these donations were received from these donors at this particular dates. You can do that if you join with us. We allow you to, as a new customer, you can come in and capture all of these details. We'll help you with onboarding all of your prior data, and you can just submit it for your prior years. So if it was 2023, 2024, 25, and catch up, basically play catch up and make sure that you are compliant. But yeah, you do need to submit it at some point.
All right. Lisa, Nell, what do you do if the donor do not come back with the relevant information? Do you then cancel the Section 18A?
Well, technically, you're not supposed to issue one if you do not have the information. So if you have issued one, it's not going to be valid. He will not be able to claim, he or she will.
Okay.
If it doesn't contain all the relevant fields.
Okay. All right. I don't know if I've read Rich's question: with the new rules regarding goods in kind, how will you handle that now? I've experienced challenges with the amount. Sorry, I'm just removing this. I've experienced challenges with the amount of space available to capture. Will we now be able to upload an attachment or something like that?
So on active donor, we are making a provision for having larger text fields, up to a much larger text field, so you can break down each item for goods in kind if you had a full list, and that will be available very soon.
Okay. All right. So there's a lot of questions. I'm sorry, Zahir.
Fine,
Glenn,
fine.
do you have to submit an IT3D if you are, sorry, if you are Section 18A registered but didn't receive any Section 18A donations?
You have to submit a nil return. It's called a nil return, and basically that just tells SARS that we didn't receive any donation. So if you are an 18A PBO, you do need to make a submission, whether it's 1 certificate, 100 certificates, or zero certificates. In the case of zero certificates, it's just called a nil return. Same process, but you just say that you didn't receive anything. That can also be done via active donor or e-filing or HTTPS.
All right. Cool. Thanks for that. So I just see some hands up here quickly. Let me then just give other people a chance. Lindsay Han, please unmute on your side and you can ask your question.
Hi, yes, good morning. It's with regards to goods and services. If, for example, we get a donation of textbooks, you said that is fine. If we get a donation of chairs and tables and furniture and all of that kind of thing, is that what you mean by actual goods that we can now put a value to and issue a Section 18A?
That's correct.
So, so what an example of what has happened this year is we've got 100 bursaries that have been given to 100 students, which is great. And then one of the people, I think at Sherwood Books, have donated X amount of money to 4 textbooks to these students, but there is a balance which the company, which Cornerstone Institute where I work, is going to have to pay. Would they have to split that into 2 as if to say, this is what we have donated and then send us an invoice for what we are going to have to pay? Or how would that work?
Lindsay, I'm not 100% sure on the technicals here. We'd be happy to chat afterwards with regards to your specific query, because I don't want to give a concrete answer and say this you can issue an 18A for this amount versus. But I'm happy to chat with you afterwards with my colleagues and
Thank you.
Break it down for you.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome. My email is Zahir, Zahir @activedonor.com.
Okay.
So we can have
So
a
maybe
chat
you can
afterwards.
post it here as well, Zahir. You can post it on chat. Zagaria, I know you said I don't respond to email. Please forward it again because life gets busy. So please forward your email.
I will email you. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Thanks,
I will
Lindsay.
email you.
All right, cool. I just want to check sorry, I just want to allow, sorry, I just want okay, so that's Lindsay. I just want to give another a chance. Sorry, I forgot her name now. Sophie, please go ahead with your question.
Hi, yes. Our process is for the owners to be with the donor to request the certificate, because we get so many small donations. It would be a full-time job just issuing certificates for every single donation. And we ask them to complete a form which has all the required fields. But if deadlines are missed, despite us saying, make sure you get it in if you're going to be compliant, we still get requests for donations after our IT3, our submission deadline. What's the situation there then with penalties? I mean, what we tend to do is like, we can issue it, but we can't submit on your behalf. This is past that. We do the whole explanation. Here is your certificate. However, it's missed the deadline, so we have not been able to submit it. what's the situation there?
Thanks, Sophie. So typically on the deadline, you need to submit everything that you've issued to that point. So if you've issued, 200 certificates up until the 31st of May, we suggest you submit those 200. And then, in May, June, July, or thereafter, if you get more donors coming in and wanting a Section 18A, we suggest using Active Donor. You can always issue an 18A and submit it to SARS in one click. But yeah, if you can, you do a late submission after that, that's fine. As long as you made your primary submission that was due with all of the certificates that you had issued out to donors at that point in the 31st of, because that's a cutoff. After
Okay,
that, if you
so-
have extra submission, so that's the primary one. And that's the one that, that you've issued to donors at that point. Does that
Okay, and
clarify things for you?
in terms of like, if we say we've issued 200 donations, certificates, but we've actually had 300. Is it okay to only provide certificates to those who request them? Or must we be raising a certificate for every single donation, regardless?
Sorry, Sophie, could you just repeat that? You broke off there.
I'm just wanting to make sure that the issuing of the certificates is donor driven. So if we have, say, I don't know, 1,000 donations, but only 200 of those donors request a certificate, is that absolutely fine to just issue 200 certificates?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
As long as you've got.
But then if it's late,
all the
we just
right
have a late
data.
one. Yeah.
All right. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So Chesley, please go ahead with your question, and then we'll go Rudolph, and then we'll look at some questions on chat. I know we've gone over 10, but let's just ask, go through some of the few questions before we all drop off. Chesley, please go ahead.
Hi. Hello, good day. Assalamu alaikum. Tell me, does a donor qualify for a Section 18A for an outside project out of South Africa?
No, that does not qualify for a Section 18A. You must spend the money within the borders of South Africa.
Okay. In the past, it used to, eh? Even
Well,
though the
we are
money is
now-
being given to the organization within South Africa to do the project.
Is it? Okay. I'm not aware of that. As far as I know, as long as I've been seeing it, it has always been that you must spend the money within South Africa. It has to be, and it's also specific to certain activities. So you cannot issue a Section 18As for everything. There are specific activities. Most welfare activities do count, but there are specific rules for which you can issue an 18A.
Okay, noted. Thank you, Jazakallah.
Thank you. Okay, Rudolph,
Amen.
please go ahead, Rudolph, with your question.
So I just want to make sure I understand correctly. You mentioned that description needs to be included on the Section 18A for in-kind donations. So in our case, we receive thousands of different food items per year. So I just want to know how detailed will that description need to be, or can we just say, for example, it was an in-kind donation of food ingredients, whatever? Would we have to go detailed? It was carrots, 10 kgs, something like that. And then the second question is regarding the valuation. What would need to be disclosed there? Because the responsibility to prove the value sits with the donor. So onus is on them. That's just what I wanted to know. How do we deal with those two questions on the Section 18A certificate?
Thank you, Rudolph. So what we've seen is a lot of organizations keep records of the actual donation that they've received. For example, they will keep detailed records, let's say 3 bags of carrots and 20 books and all of that. And then on the 18A, they will provide a description to say, in some cases, it's entirely up to you, but in some cases you can actually list out each of the items and say 3 bags of carrot, that's 100 Rand, 2 books, that's 400 Rand, and break it down. It's up to you, entirely up to you. But we also recommend that you keep a specific record aside in case there is a query later on, you have something to fall back on. With regards to the valuation, this has to be fair market valuation, so you obviously cannot overinflate the bags of carrots or the books. So make sure that it matches fair market valuation.
So,
Rudolph, does that
so
answer
I
your
know
questions?
to a certain degree, yes. Just a follow-up question is for us, it's really going to be difficult to answer to provide to such an extent the detail of the goods receipt. So my question is, I understand you advised that we do it like basically distinguishing all the different ingredients on the certificate. But my question is, would it be fine if we just say food items? That's the first question. And the second question is, you say it has to be market value, but my understanding is it has to be either cost value or the lower of like the realizable fair value.
Donor paid for it, what the donor would have paid for it, or yes, Arnold?
No. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so what the donor would have paid for it. If they have an invoice for the items, then that's fine. But yeah, it is basically the cost of the item. And
I think we're losing you there.
the other thing you mentioned was
Yeah. Okay, let's do this. Yeah, because of I think because of connectivity as well. Look, there's so many questions, right? Please send us the email so that then we can have another session where we answer some of those questions. So Zahir has shared his email address. You can also send me an email, arnold@pambano.org.za. Yeah, I see the so many questions, and of course after an hour then people start dropping off, so don't worry. So we have the recording, we have the presentation that we'll share after this. But Zahir, Raisa, do you have any last question that or any solution that you wanna, or anything that you wanna share before we drop off on your side?
no, thank you for hosting us, Arnold. We just want to thank you, and thank you for all the participants for bearing with all our technical challenges and hurdles this morning. Like I told Arnold, this is the first time we're doing a Teams webinar and we weren't really sure. So at least we pulled through. Thank you. I hope we answered some of your questions. Feel free to reach out to me. If it's a technical question, I'm the person that can answer. If it's something related to the actual legislation process or what is required, what is not required, we have a team that's qualified in-house that can sort of guide you on the process.
Sure.
So just feel free to reach out to info@activedonor.com. That's our general email. I will paste it in the chat.
Awesome.
And yeah, we'll help you out wherever we can. All the best. This is a challenging time for everyone. So we know it's quite tough out there. So all the best to everyone. That's all.
Yeah. So thank you. Thanks so much. Raisa, anything to share from your side?
No, nothing much from my side,
Okay.
but thank you guys so much. And I'm sorry for the technical difficulties during the session. But like Zahir said, if you guys have any questions or need any advice or clarity on anything that we went through today, please feel free to email us at info@activedonor.com.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Arnold.
If
We
anyone
appreciate you.
If anyone
Sorry,
wants
go
a
ahead.
demo, we welcome
Yes,
you to,
yes.
if anybody wants to see how Active Donor works, we invite you to a one-on-one demo. Anybody can join in. It's free. Just go to activedonor.com/demo and you can book a free demo.
Awesome. Thanks so much. And I'm sorry that, to everyone, I see that there's still hands up, Michelle, Sandra, and we didn't come to you. But if you don't mind, please send us an email. And I'm sorry we couldn't go through all the questions also on chat due to time as well, because, we said it's going to just be an hour. So next time we'll try maybe to say an hour and a half, so that then we are able to go through everything. But from all of us at Pambano Technology Development Center, I would like to appreciate you all for joining our webinar today. Please follow us on our social media pages. My colleagues will share we'll share all our social media pages here, so that then you're able to join us on our next sessions. I know we also do the in-person sessions Now in February, we'll be going to the Free State, a couple of towns in the Free State, and I saw some organizations also from KZN. We'll be in Durban on Friday, the 27th of February. We'll be having an NPO session at the Danish Haley Center. And again, we will share this recording, we'll share the presentation so that you're able to go through everything. And for any free demos, as Ahira said, you can request a demo on our side, you know, for Pambano, in terms of some of our services, you want to partner with us, please send us an email so that then we're able to continue working with you. But we do appreciate everyone, all the organizations that have joined from throughout the country that have joined for today's presentation. And, you know, we always have all these different sessions with organizations. And again, as I said, you know, from all of us at Pambano Technology Development Center, we appreciate all the organizations that are joining, that have joined today's webinar and that have joined our previous webinars, because again, shows the relevance of our work. So please get in touch with us on our social media pages, on email, and contact us, and we'll be able to continue working with you throughout your tech journey. So thanks so much. We hope you have a great week, and of course, making sure that you address all your compliance issues before the end of your financial year. So thank you, and thanks to all that have joined today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.